Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's that time of the year again. The January transfer window is creeping up on us and the talks are starting. FRASER FORSTER is the name on everybody's lips. We've been talking about it for months. You know, the summer transfer window was the exact same thing. Would he end up back at the club? He didn't end up back at the club. It's a long, complex situation. There's fans who don't want him back for the way that things went, and there's people who are dying to have him back with the situation currently at the club with goalkeepers. It's a long one. So let's get into the intro, let's get into the video, and we'll talk about both sides and just if it's realistic or not if he'll end up back at Celtic. Right, so we'll start off a bit of background. Let's get it all out of the way so we know where we're standing and we can talk about the situation as it kind of unfurls. In the summer transfer window, FRASER FORSTER went back to Southampton after an incredible year loan last year. He came back to Celtic and he was one of our best players last season, and if not the key player last season that took us to the success in the League Cup final, helped us go and secure the league. It was a huge part, and we all wanted him back. We all thought that it was going to happen, in fact. We all thought that it was the guarantee of the transfer window that we'd end up getting him back. FRASER FORSTER decided to go and take his chances at Southampton. He said he wasn't coming back to Celtic. There was nothing direct from him, but the talk was that he didn't want to come back up to Scotland. They wanted to try down there, and he didn't think it was worth his while coming back here, which really turned a lot of fans sour on his part. You know, the fact that he turned down the opportunity to come and be part of a historic Celtic side that could potentially go on to win 10 in a row, to go and play for Southampton, was really, really off-putting for a lot of fans. And then we settled with Barkas. We spent £6 million in a keeper who seems to have no hands. All he's done is pick the ball at the back of the net. Scott Bain came into the team. He was just as useless, and now we're sitting with Connor Hazard in goals, our third choice keeper, and it looks as though he's the best option at the club. But the talks are starting again. FRASER FORSTER. It's been going on for about a month or two now. Southampton don't want him. At first, when that news broke, when it came out that he wasn't going to get a chance over Alec McCarthy, that Southampton were willing to move him on, Celtic fans kind of laughed. Well, a large majority of them did anyway. We laughed at the situation. Oh, get it up, you know, you picked to do that, and this came back to bite you. You fell for the same trap as you fell for before, and it serves you right. That was the kind of general consensus from a lot of social media. But things are changing. Celtic's situation has changed, and suddenly fans have got arms wide open to bring him back to the club, and rightfully so. But we're going to talk about the situation that's coming out at Southampton right now. So the Celtic Star broke this story, I believe it was last night. It was coming from the Herald's report on the situation at Southampton, with how well their season has been, and the fact that players will be, you know, linked with moves here, there and everywhere. You know, a lot of players down there overperforming at Southampton, and big clubs in England quite rightfully looking at players to maybe bring in to strengthen their own squads. But Ralph Hasenhüttl, a direct quote from him was, "I'm never scared of any transfer window because this is the way we go. When we are performing well and other clubs are coming, want to take our players and give you the money you want, you always discuss it. We are never a club at the end of the highest in Europe. We never will be, but we also know we're not a selling club. If it is necessary, we have to, players will go. If we do not extend our contracts and they're free, they have to go, and they will go." So Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton manager, very good manager in fact, just want to add that, basically admitting that players will probably leave in the January window, and there's nothing directly there to suggest that FRASER FORSTER will be one of them, but there has been talk now in a few media outlets that we are going back in for a short-term loan deal, a 6-month loan deal that will see him come into Celtic, be the first choice keeper for the rest of the season, and hopefully steer us in the right direction towards a better defensive performance that can see us close the gap towards Rangers. Now, this has been met with two sets of opinions. One is the, no, fuck him, you know, we don't want him back here, pardon the French, but I'm just going to be blatantly honest about it. You know, we don't want him after, you know, the way he treated us and the way he picked to be Southampton's second choice over us. But then there's people who have quite openly changed their mind, and I was always on the, when we were signing keepers and it was coming down to this situation in the summer where we had to pick someone, I knew it wasn't going to be Forster. After all that happened, I had my sights set on Barkas as a fan. I was like, okay, Barkas seems to be the right option, I'll take him, he'll be a good keeper, he'll do just as good a job as FRASER FORSTER, and I was wrong. But how now at this situation, at this point in time, can I have any right to sit here and pretend I wouldn't take FRASER FORSTER back at the club? He is direly needed. We need someone who's going to install a confidence in the back line, and someone who's going to have confidence in themselves to make these big saves and have match-winning performances. That's what you get with FRASER FORSTER. If we can get him on a 6-month loan deal to come in and help do the job till the end of the season, and perhaps take us a bit closer than where we are right now to 10 in a row, I cannot sit here and say that's not what I want. A lot of fans, as I said, sticking to the whole forget about him, he forgot about us. I just can't justify that. We're in a desperate situation. So the main kind of argument you will get in terms of the goalkeepers that we have at the club right now will be, why not give Conor Hazard the chance over this guy? Look, I have liked what I've seen from Conor Hazard so far. I'm not going to deny that. I like the 2 games we've seen of him, against Lille and against Kilmarnock at the weekend. He looked solid enough. Although he wasn't truly tested against Kilmarnock, are we ready to prepare, 4, 5, 6 months of first team? Are we ready to install that confidence in him to be the first team keeper for that amount of time with the situation we already find ourselves in? What if it is only 1 or 2 games? What if we get the same situation with Barkas and Bain all over again with Conor Hazard? And of course, a young guy, he's had plenty of loan moves. Maybe this is his time to shine at Celtic, but his loan moves weren't particularly impressive. I remember David, who has watched a lot of him in the Championship before, and his loan moves there as a Dunfermline fan, said he was rotten and he wasn't going to be any good for Celtic. What if that's ready to come? And I don't want to have that sort of overwhelming negative sort of opinion on him, and I want to have confidence. I'm not going to be a pessimist straight away and brush him to the side. Let's keep giving him these chances to the end of the year and see what we get. But you cannot pass up the opportunity to have a world-class keeper like Fraser Forster back at the club to give it to a reserve keeper who is now, only because of horrendous goalkeeping issues, getting a chance at Celtic. That's a joke in a season like this. It really is. I'm going to be blatantly honest about it. That is a joke. You should be having the best calibre of player possible, and we thought we were getting that with Barkas in the team for a season like this. Now, you've ultimately got to look at how realistic it's going to be. I still don't have my hopes set high about him coming back to Celtic. I think it's something that's going to take a lot of discussion, and it should already have started between the Celtic board and the Southampton board, or whoever is in charge of working out these transfers. There should be talks already underway. We need to get this done as the bells go on Hogmanay, in my opinion. But will it happen? Realistically, he's already turned his back once. I think he's seen the kind of reaction that he got. Will he be willing to come back up now? I mean, I hope so. That's ultimately what I'll say. I hope he comes back. But Southampton, at the end of the day, might not ship him out. There's no guarantee he's going to be one of those players that Southampton ready to let go. Of course, there was a talk that they were willing to let him go, and I think a loan deal would work best for Southampton and Celtic in this situation. I don't think we'll be willing to put the money out there to sign him permanently, especially if I'm getting on a wee bit. I'm not going to get my hopes set high about it. It is all just talk at the minute, and until there is more concrete information on the table, then I'll start getting more excited. Then I'll start informing you people of something that seems to be a little more progressive. At the minute, I think we've got to stay level-headed about it and look at it as an opportunity that we should welcome. And I hope Celtic fans appreciate that. I think we should appreciate the fact that if he comes back up the road, it will mean wonders for us moving forward the rest of the season. And it'll make a big difference to our charge for this title and closing this gap. We need someone like him. We need someone who knows what it's like to play in the big games. Look, Conor Hazard, great as he is, or great as he could have been against Kilmarnock, Lille, whatever you want to say, I don't think he was great. I think he was solid enough. I don't think he was, by any stretch of the imagination, great. He's never played in an Old Firm derby. He's never played in these big title-deciding games. Fraser Forster has been here and done it over the course of 2 different spells. We need that experience. And you see what happens when a player of his caliber's in goals and how it rubs off the defence in front of him. We've got to take him back if we get the opportunity. Let bygones be bygones. It's not the time for sentiment. The fact we're back in this situation right enough does just kind of sum up how our season's been so far. We're reaching out to the ex-other. It's been a disaster of a season. Ultimately, that's all came from one place. We know that, but we need to play like him. We do, and that's just the honest opinion of it all. I'm annoyed that we have had to get to this point. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved it if we had Barkas in goals, we were top of the league, he was performing well, and we could have just forgot about Fraser Forster for good. Because I really wanted us to move on. I wanted us to have the same sort of affection for our new keeper as we did the last. But it's just the way the cookie has crumbled, sadly. So, you know what? I'm reaching out. I am desperate for him back. And it's like a love story, innit? It really is. Just to end off the video, I put up a tweet about 10 minutes before recording this. So it's not got probably the biggest amount of votes on it, or the biggest amount of replies on it. Not one that I would have loved to put this up last night and then got as many replies as possible for it. But I've got your guys' opinion to end off the video and see what people are thinking about Fraser Forster. And it seems the majority of people who have voted on the poll do agree with me. And they will take Fraser Forster back in a heartbeat. So I put up for today's video, take Fraser Forster back in January if possible. Big if. Feel free to reply. And out of 210 votes that I've got in the space of 10 minutes, we have got 70 75% of people saying yes, 25% of people saying no. So a few of the replies to that. Ryan says, no time for sentimental pish. In reality, he didn't owe Celtic anything other than playing time. Up the road in January. Clearly want him back. Cameron saying, I want to say no because he didn't want to come back. And if he did come back, I would feel we were second best to Southampton. But in this current state, it's hard to say no to the situation if it came up. So, you know, we're echoing the same things I've been saying over the video. Jack saying Fraser Forster and Roberts equals Happy Bear. The Celts 19 says, would take Craig Gordon back, let alone Fraser Forster. And then Kyle Cunningham saying, wonder how many people wanting Forster back called Rodgers a rat. And then finally, one on the other side of things, the last one, Kovod 19 sucks, says, no, he made his bed, he can lie in it. Didn't want to come back to us at the start of the season, why take him now? So, of course, people will still have that opinion, but I feel like we've just got to move that aside for the best of the team at the minute. There's no point in being picky. If we want a new goalkeeper, there's not a lot out there that I think we can trust in the next 6 months. If it's going to be Hazard, fair enough, but we've seen what happened with Barkas. If we sign someone else, is it going to work out in the same situation as what Barkas has and flopped? We don't want that, do we? We'll see what happens. See as the developments go. I think we shouldn't get our hopes set high. As I said, I think there's still time to wait and see what happens. But aye, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.